Hello everyone. In this session, let's understand the importance of adapting services to different cultural contexts. So let's start with the first concept, which is known as cultural adaptation. What is cultural adaptation? Cultural adaptation in services context refers to the process of modifying and customizing services to suit the cultural preferences, expectations, and norms of diverse consumer groups. It involves understanding and respecting cultural differences and adjusting service delivery, communication strategies, and customer interactions accordingly. So, what does this particular cultural adaptation has an impact on services? First, cultural differences in consumer behaviors and preferences. Cultural variation influences how consumers make decisions, interact with businesses, and perceive service offerings. Different cultures may prioritize different aspects of service, such as price, quality, convenience, or even social status. For example, in some cultures, consumers may value interpersonal relationships and trust building in service interactions, while in others, efficiency and transactional efficiency may be more important. Secondly, cultural adaptation also influences the culture through service expectations and perceptions. Cultural norms and values shape consumers' expectations of service quality, reliability, and appropriateness. Service providers must understand cultural norms related to customer service, communication styles, and service delivery to meet or even exceed customer expectations. For instance, a culture with high uncertainty avoidance, customers may expect clear guidelines, formal procedures, and assurances of quality and reliability. Now, let's understand why cultural adaptation is important. The first point here is cultural differences significantly impact consumer behaviors, preferences, and expectations, making it essential for service providers to adapt their offerings. Secondly, failure to consider cultural nuances can lead to misunderstandings, dissatisfaction, and even loss of business opportunities. Third, adapting services to align with cultural preferences enhances customer satisfaction, loyalty, and trust, ultimately driving business success in diverse markets. Now, let's understand with some key points. So, cultural adaptation helps to build customer satisfaction and loyalty, helps in building trust and rapport with diverse customer segments, and also offers competitive advantage. Let's discuss these points in detail. Cultural adaptation enhances customer satisfaction by catering to the unique preferences, values, and expectations of diverse consumer groups. When consumers feel that their cultural needs are understood and respected, they are more likely to pursue the service positively and develop a sense of loyalty toward that particular brand. By adapting services to align with cultural preferences, service providers can create memorable experiences that foster long-term relationship with the customers. Secondly, cultural adaptation plays a crucial role in building trust and rapport with diverse customer segments. When customers perceive that a service provider values their cultural identity and preferences, they are more likely to feel valued and respected, leading to stronger emotional connections and trust in the brand. Third, in today's globalized and multicultural marketplace, cultural adaptation provides a competitive advantage for service providers seeking to differentiate themselves and capture market share. Service providers that effectively adapt their offering to suit diverse cultural contexts are better positioned to meet the needs and preferences of multicultural consumer segments. By gaining insight into cultural nuances and tailoring their services accordingly, businesses can gain a deeper understanding of their target markets, identify untapped opportunities, and even outperform competition in multicultural markets. Now, let's understand the importance of cultural adaptation through some interesting case studies. Starbucks. Starbucks' expansion into China served as a prime example of successful cultural adaptation in the service industry. Here is how the company effectively navigated cultural nuances to establish a strong presence and resonate with the Chinese consumers. Before that, let's have a look at this particular video that talks about how Starbucks conquered China, a journey from tea to coffee, because Chinese people love tea a lot as compared to coffee. Have a look at this video.
Imagine China in the late 1990s, a country deeply rooted in tea culture, where the idea of drinking coffee was nearly unheard of. Into this tea-dominated scene enters Starbucks, a popular American coffee chain. In 1999, Starbucks opened its first store in China, amidst much skepticism. Why would a nation of tea drinkers embrace a foreign coffee brand? Starbucks wasn't just selling coffee, it was selling the American Starbucks experience. In a time when Western culture was becoming increasingly popular among Chinese youth, Starbucks capitalized on this trend. They chose prime locations, invested in expensive real estate, and created a welcoming environment with good music, comfortable seating, and friendly baristas. Yet, despite these efforts, Starbucks initially struggled. The Chinese preference for tea over coffee was a tough barrier to break. Realizing the need to adapt, Starbucks took a bold step. They began to offer teas, particularly green tea, along with their coffee. This small change had a big impact. The Chinese customers, drawn in by the familiar taste of tea, started frequenting Starbucks, slowly getting acquainted with coffee. Starbucks understood that success in China required more than just adding tea to the menu. They observed that while Western Starbucks stores catered to individuals, Chinese customers preferred visiting in groups. This insight led to a redesign of their stores in China, with furniture suited for larger gatherings. Starbucks also embraced Chinese culture by introducing local menu items and celebrating local festivals. This cultural sensitivity resonated well with the Chinese audience. The result? Starbucks became a phenomenon in China. Not only did they manage to introduce coffee to a predominantly tea-drinking population, but they also became a part of people's daily lives. Today, China boasts over 6,000 Starbucks outlets. Starbucks isn't the only Western brand that adapted to thrive in China. KFC, for example, overhauled its menu to include Chinese favorites, while Walmart stocked unique local products like live frogs. Car manufacturers, electronics companies, and luxury apparel brands have also made significant changes to appeal to the Chinese market. This story of Starbucks in China is a testament to the power of cultural adaptation and market-specific strategies. It shows how understanding and respecting local preferences can transform a foreign brand into a local favorite. It's a lesson for any business looking to expand globally. Success often lies in the ability to adapt and blend with the local culture. Bye.
So, Starbucks adopted multiple strategies to adapt to the culture of China. The first one here is localization of menu offerings. Starbucks recognized the importance of catering to local tastes and preferences in China's diverse culinary landscape. The company adapted its menu to include traditional Chinese flavors and ingredients such as green tea, frappuccino, and red bean green tea latte as well. By offering familiar and culturally relevant options alongside its global menu, that is coffee, Starbucks appealed to Chinese consumers' palate preferences, enhancing their overall experience. Secondly, they worked on embracing Chinese cultural elements. Beyond menu localization, Starbucks integrated Chinese cultural elements into its store design and ambience. Many Starbucks locations in China feature traditional Chinese decor, artwork, and architectural elements, creating a welcoming and familiar atmosphere for customers. By incorporating local aesthetics and symbolism, Starbucks not only differentiated itself from competitors but also demonstrated respect for Chinese culture and heritage. Thirdly, they worked on community engagement and social connection. Starbucks emphasized the importance of community engagement and social connection, which are valued aspects of Chinese culture. The company launched initiatives such as Starbucks community stores and Starbucks China Farmer Support Centers, fostering partnerships with local communities and suppliers. These efforts not only strengthen Starbucks' brand presence but also reinforce its commitment to corporate social responsibility, aligning with Chinese consumers' expectations for socially responsible business practices. Remember that China is a collectivistic culture and they value outgroups as well as compared to their family members. Coming next, digital innovation and mobile technology. Recognizing China's rapid digitalization and mobile adoption, Starbucks leveraged innovative technologies to enhance the customer experience. The company introduced mobile ordering and payment options, loyalty programs, and personalized marketing initiatives tailored to Chinese consumer preferences. By embracing digital innovation and integrating seamlessly into consumers' daily lives, Starbucks reinforced its relevance and convenience in the Chinese market. Next comes the continuous adaptation and learning. Continuous adaptation and learning. Starbucks demonstrated a commitment to continuous adaptation and learning in response to evolving consumer trends and market dynamics in China. The company regularly conducts market research, solicits feedback from customers, and adjusts its strategies accordingly to stay ahead of the competitors and maintain relevance in the rapidly changing landscape. In summary, Starbucks' successful cultural adaptation in China can be attributed to its strategic localization efforts, embrace of Chinese cultural elements, emphasis on community engagement, digital innovation, and commitment to continuous learning. By understanding and respecting cultural nuances, Starbucks effectively connected with Chinese consumers, established a strong brand presence, and achieved sustainable growth in one of the world's largest and most dynamic market. Next comes McDonald's. McDonald's entry into Indian market exemplifies a remarkable case of cultural adaptation in the service industry. Here is how the company effectively navigated cultural nuances to establish a strong presence and resonate with Indian consumers. But before that, let's have a look at the video that talks about how McDonald's conquered India.
McDonald's for 27 years has remained synonymous with burgers in India. The Golden Arches entered the country in 1996 and became an undisputed leader in burgers business. Surviving through many neck-to-neck burger rivalries, economic crisis, and pandemic, McDonald's India still stands strong today. Hello everyone and welcome to Digital Report channel. In today's video, we'll explore the unique challenges and opportunities that McDonald's faced when entering the Indian market. Without further ado, let's get started. The organization was established in California in the year 1940 by brothers Richard and Maurice McDonald. McDonald's has grown to become a global phenomenon with over 39,000 locations in more than 100 countries. Known for its iconic golden arches and menu items such as Big Mac and Happy Meal, McDonald's has established itself as a household name around the world. But when it entered India in 1996, it faced many challenges. So, how did McDonald's succeed in India? Here are some of the key factors that contributed to its success. In India, one of the key figures behind the brand's success is Amit Jatia, a committed vegetarian himself. Jatia was 14 when he walked into a McDonald's for the first time. It was in Japan and all he could have was a milkshake, but he loved it. Fast forward a few years, when McDonald's first contacted Amit in 1994 for franchise partnership, he faced his first big challenge, convincing his vegetarian family to invest in the business. He had to persuade his parents that he was not selling beef or pork products and assure them that he would maintain strict separation of vegetarian and non-vegetarian kitchens and utensils. In India, where vegetarianism is common, Amit knew that he had to adapt the menu to cater to local preferences. One of the first changes Amit made was to introduce the Mek Aloo Tikki burger, a vegetarian burger that has become one of the most popular items on its menu in India. But Amit didn't stop there. McDonald's India also developed a range of other vegetarian options for its Indian consumers, such as the Mek Veggie Burger, Cheesy Nugget Veg Bites, Masala Wedges, Big Spicy Paneer Wrap, and Mixed Spicy Premium Veg Burger. The Big Mac Beef Burger is McDonald's signature product worldwide. However, in India, Amit and his partners had to come up with a unique signature product that would appeal to the local market. They introduced the Chicken Maharajan Mac, which quickly became an instant hit among its consumers. But it wasn't just about the food. McDonald's also had to create a family-friendly atmosphere in its restaurants. Eating out in India was seen as a social occasion, rather than just grabbing a quick bite. So, they trained their staff to greet customers with a smile and offer them polite service. Thanks to Amit's innovations, McDonald's has become a household name in India with over 400 locations across the country. So, the next time you visit a McDonald's in India, remember that one of the key figures behind its success is Amit, a committed vegetarian who saw the potential for a global brand to succeed in his own country. The second factor that helped McDonald's succeed in India was tapping into new markets and segments that were not served by other fast food chains. For example, it targeted children with its Happy Meal, and the company used various marketing strategies to do so. One of the most significant tactics is the inclusion of toys in Happy Meals. These toys are often based on popular children's franchises, such as Disney movies or superhero comics, and they change regularly to encourage repeat purchases. In addition to toys, Happy Meals often feature children-friendly menu items such as chicken nuggets and fries, and colorful packaging with cartoon characters. It also targeted young urban professionals who wanted a convenient and affordable meal options with its 55 rupees extra value meal. The number of McDonald's outlets in India has been increasing exponentially. You can find one in almost every mall, marketplace, theater, multiplex, airport, railway station, metro station, and near amusement parks. After establishing a strong presence in metropolitan and Tier 1 cities, McDonald's is now aggressively expanding into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. In smaller cities, McDonald's is seen as a status symbol. By opening a new restaurants in these areas, McDonald's can tap into the growing demand for fast food and appeal to customers who view dining at McDonald's as a sign of social status. In addition to expanding their reach, McDonald's also focuses on maintaining cleanliness and hygiene at their outlets while ensuring their products have a uniform taste. They constantly innovate by providing free Wi-Fi and playing modern music to attract young customers. Some of their outlets even have play areas for children so that the families can enjoy quality time together while dining at the restaurant. After 27 years of its presence in India, McDonald's is just getting started. In its next phase of growth, the burger chain aims to expand its presence further into the country and capture the coffee and fried chicken market as well.
Now let's discuss the successful cultural adaptation at McDonald's in India. The first is, of course, menu localization. McDonald's recognized the importance of adapting its menu to suit Indian tastes and dietary preferences. The company introduced a range of vegetarian options, including the Bakalu Tikki burger, paneer wrap, and the veg pizza McFuff, to cater to the large vegetarian population in India. Additionally, McDonald's modified its recipes to accommodate cultural dietary restrictions, such as using vegetable oil instead of beef tallow for frying. Secondly, with respect for religious sensitivities. India is a culturally diverse country with a significant population adhering to various religious beliefs. McDonald's demonstrated sensitivity to religious preferences by offering separate kitchens and utensils for vegetarian and non vegetarian food preparation. Moreover, the company refrained from serving beef and pork products in defense to Hindu and Muslim dietary restriction, earning the trust and respect of religiously observant consumers. Third, with respect to embracing local flavors and ingredients. In addition to adopting its menu to suit Indian preferences, McDonald's incorporated local flavors and ingredients into its offering. For example, the McSpicy Paneer Burger and even Maharaja Mac feature Indian spices and condiments, providing a familiar and appealing taste experience for Indian consumers. By embracing regional culinary traditions, McDonald's enhanced its menu relevance and appeal to diverse Indian palates. Next comes family-oriented dining experiences. McDonald's recognized the importance of family values and social gatherings in Indian culture. The company designed its restaurants with family-friendly amenities such as play areas for children, spacious sitting arrangements, and vibrant decor. McDonald's also introduced family meal combos and promotional offers, encouraging families to dine together and enjoy quality time in a welcoming environment. Next comes to affordable pricing and value proposition. McDonald's adopted a pricing strategy tailored to Indian consumer preferences and purchasing power. The company introduced value meals, budget friendly options, and localized pricing strategies to ensure affordability and accessibility. By offering value for money and catering to diverse budget segments, McDonald's positioned itself as an inclusive and affordable dining destination in the Indian market. Next comes to community engagement and CSR. McDonald's actively engage with local communities and stakeholders through various corporate social responsibility initiatives. The company supported local farmers and suppliers, promoted environmental sustainability, and invested in community development projects. By demonstrating a commitment to social responsibility and community, McDonald's built trust and goodwill among Indian consumers, enhancing its brand reputation and credibility. In summary, McDonald's successful cultural adaptation in India can be attributed to its strategic menu localization, respect for religious sensitivities, incorporation of local flavors, family oriented dining experience, affordability, and community engagement efforts. By understanding and respecting cultural nuances, McDonald's effectively connected with Indian consumers, establishing a strong brand presence and achieved sustained growth in one of the most competitive and culturally diverse country or market. So both Starbucks and McDonald's are the cases for successful cultural adaptation. But there is also a case that reflects the failure of an organization or service firm in terms of cultural adaptation. So let's discuss a case of Walmart. Walmart's venture into German market serves as a notable example of failed cultural adaptation in the service industry. Here is how companies' missteps in cultural adaptation led to its inability to establish a successful presence in Germany. As we can see, there are various reasons why Walmart failed in Germany, even though they are reputable brand with experience in operating in foreign countries. They had to sell their hypermarket chains in Germany after they lost about $1 billion and more in this particular market. So let's understand why did Walmart failed in the Germany. So let's have a look at this particular video that essentially address this question that why Walmart failed in Germany. Have a look at this particular video.
In 1997, Walmart opened its first store in Germany. They had officially entered the largest retail market in Europe. But 9 years later, they sold their stores, packed their bags, and left the country. They had lost $1 billion. So how did the largest private employer in the world fail so badly? By 1988, Walmart had become the most profitable retailer in the US. Their success spurred the company to start looking abroad at the international market. And the expansion has been largely successful. Walmart now has almost 12,000 stores in 27 countries. In Britain, they now own the second largest supermarket chain in the country, Asda. They're the largest private employer in Mexico and the third largest in Canada. But that success is not universal. In 1997, Walmart purchased two German retail chains, Wertkauf and Interspar, totaling 95 stores. It was a huge risk. Germany in the late 90s was a hostile market. Restrictive shopping hours, regulated zoning, and high unemployment kept other companies away, according to analysts at Kurt Salman Associates Europe. Retail market growth rates averaged just 0.3% per year in the 90s. It was also entering a market full of successful native discount retailers like Aldi and Lidl, which were stiff competition. By German law, these smaller stores could offer lower prices than big box stores like Walmart. Soon after arriving in Germany, Walmart faced accusations that it was using short-term predatory pricing to try and put local shopkeepers out of business. Regulators had to order Walmart to raise the price of basics like milk, flour, and butter. After that, their prices were too high in comparison to the competition, like Aldi, which ran small, bare-bones stores. The discount retail sector was a lot larger in Germany than in other countries. It was about 40% of the supermarket business, which meant that groceries and daily goods tended to cost around 15% less than the European average.
On top of these financial obstacles, Walmart faced a different kind of problem, a cultural problem. The friendly Walmart practices, based on Southern hospitality, were perceived by many to be fake and at odds with German culture.
German media reported that Walmart required its employees to start their shifts by engaging in synchronized calisthenics and group chants of Walmart, Walmart, Walmart. This was intended to build loyalty and morale. Walmart also required its cashiers to flash smiles at patrons, which a lot of customers thought was flirty and creepy.
That's also how they felt about Walmart greeters. Pretty creepy.
People found these things strange. Germans just don't behave that way. Hans Martin Postman, the secretary of the Verdi Union, which represented 5,000 Walmart employees, told the New York Times.
Walmart also imposed restrictive measures on their employees, which they called an ethics code.
Walmart required its employees to report if coworkers broke any rules, and if they didn't comply, they could be fired. Walmart also prohibited sexual intimacy and flirting between coworkers, according to the Financial Times Deutschland.
A German court eventually struck down this ethics code in 2005. By German standards, Walmart is also anti-union.
They didn't understand that in Germany, companies and unions are closely connected. They thought we were communists, Postman told the Times.
It sounds like employees, associates, they're listened to.
And without going through union politicians.
Of course not.
All unions work at is taking a cut out of my pay.
Unions strongly opposed the working culture in Walmart.
Walmart and German unions never established comfortable relations. All of these obstacles combined led to declining sales.
Walmart's German stores had a profit margin of 1%, compared to their British stores, which had a margin of 6 to 8%. Germany's top 10 chains made up 30% of the market, but Walmart made up just 3% of the market. Full-time staff in Germany demanded a 19% premium compared to UK workers on average, which drove up Walmart's operational costs as their sales declined.
So Walmart withdrew from the country in 2006, offloading 85 of its stores to its local rival, Metro.
They had employed 11,000 people and generated $2 billion in 2005. But that represented just 4% of Walmart's international operations. It has become increasingly clear that in Germany's business environment, it would be difficult for us to obtain the scale and results we desire, Michael Duke, vice chairman of Walmart stores, told the Times.
Walmart's dedication to their company culture ended up dooming them in Germany. The lesson? The locals are always right.
Now let's discuss some reasoning behind this failed cultural adaptation. First reason is a lack of understanding of local shopping habits. Walmart's business model, characterized by large warehouse-style stores and a focus on low prices and high-volume sales, did not align with the shopping preferences of German consumers. In contrast to the American preference for one-stop shopping, Germans typically favored smaller neighborhood stores offering a curated selection of goods and personalized service. Walmart's oversized stores and emphasis on quantity over quality failed to resonate with German shoppers, who preferred a more intimate and curated shopping experience. Second reason is ignoring cultural preferences and expectations. Walmart's failure to adapt its product offering and store layout to suit German cultural preferences further compounded its challenges. The company's insistence on stocking primarily American brands and products rather than incorporating locally sourced or culturally relevant items alienated German consumers who valued authenticity and familiarity. Additionally, Walmart's standardized store layouts and lack of customization failed to accommodate German consumers' desire for variety, uniqueness, and personalized shopping experiences. The third reason is with respect to ineffective marketing and branding strategies. Walmart's marketing and branding efforts in Germany failed to resonate with local consumers and differentiate the brand in a highly competitive retail market. The company's advertising campaigns, which emphasize low prices and convenience, did not effectively communicate value propositions that resonated with German consumers' priorities such as quality, sustainability, and environmental responsibility. Walmart's failure to establish a distinct brand identity and emotional connection with German consumers further hindered its ability to gain market share and compete effectively against established competitors. Next reason is with respect to cultural mismatch in employee relations. Walmart's corporate culture, characterized by a focus on efficiency, cost cutting, and standardization process, clash with German cultural norms emphasizing work life balance, employee autonomy, and collective decision making. The company's stringent labor practices, including strict scheduling, limited flexibility, and minimal employee empowerment, alienated German workers accustomed to greater autonomy, job security, and participation in decision making processes. This led to low employee morale, high turnover rates, and labor relation challenges that further undermines its operations in this particular country. In summary, Walmart's failed cultural adaptation in Germany can be attributed to its lack of understanding of local shopping habits, ignorance of cultural preferences and expectations, ineffective marketing and branding strategies, and cultural mismatch in employee relations. By neglecting to adapt its business model, product offerings, store layouts, marketing approaches, and even employee management practices to suit German cultural nuances, Walmart encountered significant challenges in gaining acceptance and competitiveness in the German market, which then ultimately leads to its withdrawal from the particular country in 2006. Now let's discuss some challenges of ignoring cultural contexts. First challenge is with respect to miscommunication and misunderstandings. Ignoring cultural context can lead to miscommunication and misunderstandings between service providers and its customers. Secondly, difference in language, communication styles, and cultural norms may result in confusion, ambiguity, and unintended interpretations of a message or intentions. Miscommunication can hinder effective service delivery, compromise customer satisfaction, and undermine the overall customer experience. Let's discuss this with an example. In 2016, Airbnb faced criticism in Japan due to miscommunication and misunderstanding arising from its cultural differences. The company's global policies and practices, such as the use of English language communications and standardized service offerings, clash with Japanese cultural norms and expectations. Many Japanese hosts and guests reported difficulties in communication and understanding Airbnb's policies that resulted in confusion, frustration, and a lot of negative experiences. Second challenge deals with offending or alienating customers. Ignorance of cultural sensitivities and taboos may inadvertently lead to actions or messages that offend or alienate customers. Behaviors, gestures, or practices that are acceptable in one culture may be perceived as disrespectful, inappropriate, or even offensive in another culture. Offending or alienating customers can damage relationships, erode trust, and lead to negative word of mouth publicity, ultimately impacting customer retention and brand reputation. For example, in 2018, luxury fashion brand Dolce& and Gabbana faced backlash and boycotts in China following a controversial marketing campaign that was perceived as culturally insensitive and even offensive. This particular campaign featured promotional videos and social media posts depicting a Chinese model struggling to eat Italian food with the chopsticks, accompanied by a derogatory captions and stereotypes. The campaign sparked outrage among Chinese consumers, who viewed it as a demeaning and disrespectful towards Chinese cultures and traditions. Let's have a look at what happened exactly with Dolce& and Gabbana in China. Have a look at this video.
It was meant to be a tongue-in-cheek advertising campaign, a series of videos showing a Chinese model eating Italian foods like pizza and pasta with chopsticks.
very, very small.
But it didn't take long before the brand behind it, Italian luxury house Dolce & Gabbana, faced accusations of racism. Within hours, the hashtag Boycott Dolce was trending on Chinese social media site Weibo, with many users accusing the company of, quote, trivializing China's centuries-old culture. The backlash further intensified after screenshots of messages sent from co-founder Stefano Gabbana leaked on the platform. They appeared to show Gabbana referring to China with crude terms and emoji while defending the video campaign. Dolce & Gabbana has now apologized, saying its account and that of its co-founder were hacked.
We are very sorry for any distress caused by these unauthorized posts. We have nothing but respect for China and the people of China.
Amidst the backlash, the brand had to cancel a fashion show scheduled on Wednesday night. This after several models said they would not attend. It's not the first time Dolce & Gabbana has been accused of racism towards China. Last year, it published a campaign on Weibo depicting Beijing as an underdeveloped city. The post was later deleted after complaints from local officials.
The backlash resulted in widespread condemnation, social media boycotts, and retailers pulling Dolce & Gabbana's products from shelves in China. The incident severely damaged the brand's reputation, credibility, and sales in one of its largest and most important markets, highlighting the consequence of cultural insensitivity and alienating customers. Third challenge is with respect to damaging brand reputation and trust. Ignoring cultural context can result in actions or decisions that are perceived as culturally insensitive, discriminatory, or even disrespectful. Negative experiences related to cultural insensitivity or ignorance can tarnish a brand's reputation and undermine consumers' trust in the company. Negative publicity, social media backlash, or even boycotts resulting from culturally missteps can have far-reaching consequences, including loss of market share, revenue, and long-term damage to brand equity. Now let's look at some strategies for cultural adaptation. There are 3 strategies for this. The first step here is conducting thorough cultural research. Before entering new markets or serving diverse customer segments, service firms should conduct comprehensive cultural research to gain insight into the values, beliefs, customs, and behaviors of target audiences. Cultural research involves studying demographic trends, social norms, and cultural values and consumer preferences to understand how they influence service expectations and perceptions. By conducting thorough cultural research, service firms can identify cultural nuances, anticipate potential challenges, and tailor their strategies to effectively engage with diverse cultural groups. The second step is with respect to adapting service offerings, communication styles, and marketing strategies. Based on cultural insights obtained through research, service firms should adapt their service offerings, communication styles, and marketing strategies to align with the preferences and expectations of target cultural segments. This may involve customizing product features, packaging, pricing, and promotional messages to resonate with cultural values, tastes, and preferences. Adapting communication styles involves using appropriate language, imagery, and symbolism that are culturally relevant and meaningful to target audiences, fostering better understanding and connection with customers. Third step here is about training employees to be culturally sensitive and competent. Service firms should invest in cultural sensitivity training programs to educate employees about cultural differences, foster empathy, and develop interpersonal skills for cross-cultural communication. Cultural competencies training equip employees with the knowledge, attitude, and skills needed to interact effectively with customers from diverse cultural backgrounds. By training employees to be culturally sensitive and competent, service firms can enhance customer satisfaction, minimize cultural misunderstandings, and build stronger relationships with customers, ultimately contributing to business success. Now let's discuss some best practices when it comes to cultural adaptation exercises. The first best practice is to develop a cultural adaptation framework. Service firms should develop a structured cultural adaptation framework that outlines processes, guidelines, and best practices for effectively adapting services to different cultural contexts. Second, establishing feedback mechanisms to monitor effectiveness. Service firms should establish feedback mechanisms such as customer surveys, focus groups, and social media monitoring to gather feedback on the effectiveness of cultural adaptation. Feedback mechanisms allow service firms to collect insights from consumers regarding their satisfaction levels, perception of service quality, and experiences with cultural adaptations. Third, committing to continuous learning and improvement. Cultural adaptation is an ongoing process that requires continuous learning and improvement. Service firms should foster a culture of learning and innovation, encouraging employees to stay updated on cultural trends, consumer preferences, and best practices in cultural adaptation. By embracing a mindset of continuous improvement, service firms can adapt quickly to changing cultural dynamics, seize new opportunities, and stay ahead of competitors in a multicultural markets. So in this session, we try to understand the importance of adapting services for different cultural contexts through the concept of cultural adaptation. Thank you.